Welcome to Infinite Universe with new episode. A new digital scan of the Titanic has given us an amazing and never-before-seen look into the final moments of the famous ship. With this advanced technology, it feels like we are traveling back in time to the night the Titanic sank. In the simulation, we find ourselves about 12,000 feet under the ocean, looking up at what's left of the Titanic. It's a chilling yet fascinating view. The Titanic was once called the unsinkable ship, a true marvel of its time. But everything changed on a cold April night in 1912, when this mighty ship disappeared beneath the waves of the Atlantic Ocean. It sank on its very first trip, taking more than 1,500 lives with it. For many years, people have tried to understand exactly what happened that night. Researchers and scientists have relied on stories from survivors and dives deep into the ocean to gather information. These methods gave us pieces of the puzzle, but not the full picture. That's why this new technology is so exciting. For the first time ever, high-resolution scans have captured the Titanic wreck in very sharp and clear detail. These images have helped reveal new clues that were hidden for more than 100 years. Now, all these scans together allow scientists and historians to build a complete digital copy of the Titanic. Every single detail is included, from large sections of the ship to tiny pieces like individual rivets. You can see everything from the twisted front of the ship to the scattered remains lying across the ocean floor. Every image adds a new piece to the story we thought we already knew, but actually didn't understand completely until now. The technology behind this is called photogrammetry. It's a method that uses thousands of overlapping photos to create a detailed 3D model. It's almost like bringing the Titanic back to life in digital form. The Titanic has been lying at the bottom of the ocean for over 100 years. But with this new scanning technique, it feels like we're seeing the ship as if it had just sunk yesterday. This incredible 3D model shows parts of the ship that no one has seen clearly since 1912. The scans were made possible by a combination of teamwork and advanced equipment. A company called Atlantic Productions, along with a deep-sea mapping company named Magellan, led one of the most difficult underwater missions ever done. Their goal was to make the Titanic fully visible again without disturbing it physically. They used underwater robots and special high-tech cameras to scan the wreck. These small underwater vehicles slowly moved around the Titanic, capturing more than 715,000 very clear and detailed images. The ship is about 12,500 feet below the ocean's surface, but that didn't stop the team. Each photo was carefully measured, lined up, and then put together using special computer software. This work created a complete and accurate digital version of the Titanic, so precise that even tiny features are visible. You can now see a single bolt, a rivet, or even the number 401 stamped on one of the ship's large propellers. In some images, you can even spot personal items that were lost during the ship's sinking. These scans do much more than just give us a better look at the ship. They also help solve some mysteries and debates that people have had for decades. One example is the theory that the Titanic was secretly switched with its sister ship, the Olympic. But a clear photo of the propeller, showing the number unique to Titanic, helps prove that this theory isn't true. The whole process of photogrammetry is a bit like putting together a huge 3D puzzle. Imagine being able to zoom in on a single small part of the ship and seeing it clearly without even going underwater. That's exactly what this technology allows us to do. The underwater robots took pictures from every possible angle, making sure every side and corner of the wreck was covered. Once all the photos were collected, powerful software stitched them together to create a full 3D image of the ship and all the debris around it. And the work didn't stop there. In 2024, a second mission was launched, and this time they captured over 2 million additional images. This new set of pictures showed how parts of the ship had changed over time. Some railings were now missing, and certain parts of the stern looked more damaged than before. These changes help researchers understand how fast the Titanic is breaking down under the ocean. One of the best things about this scanning method is that it doesn't disturb the ship at all. In the past, some missions involved removing items from the site, which caused a lot of arguments and sadness around the world. But photogrammetry is different. It doesn't touch or move anything. Instead, it takes pictures of everything exactly as it is, like creating a digital museum. It's like freezing the entire scene in time so that future generations can study and learn from it without causing any harm. This impressive digital model of the Titanic was even featured in a National Geographic documentary. It's more than just a beautiful visual, it's also a tool used by scientists to learn more about what happened during the ship's final moments. Experts like Park Stevenson, a well-known Titanic historian, are using these images to study how the ship broke apart and where the real damage began. With this technology, we now have a complete and clear view of the wreck. We can look at each section of the ship in amazing detail, and the results are both fascinating and heartbreaking. One of the most powerful images to come out of this project is of the bow, which is the front part of the Titanic. This part of the ship is still standing upright and looks incredibly majestic and haunting. Despite everything it has been through, the bow remains the most iconic part of the ship. It connects us to that night in 1912 in a way that no book or movie ever could. As the camera moves through the cold, dark waters of the Atlantic, the bow of the Titanic slowly appears, rising from the ocean floor like a giant asleep in the deep. Even though the ship has been lying there for more than a century, the bow is in surprisingly good shape. It has stayed upright and steady over the years, and the level of preservation is quite amazing. The photogrammetry scans done in 2022 were made from more than 700,000 overlapping images, and they reveal this section of the ship in stunning detail. The outer shell of the bow, which was built from thick steel plates, has held up better than people expected. Many of the original wooden planks made from teak can still be seen around the edges of the deck. Their surfaces are clean and smooth, as if untouched by time. However, the softer wooden boards that were once found between the teak planks have been eaten away by tiny organisms in the water. What remains are the iron rivets and studs that once held everything together. These details look like footprints left behind from another time, preserved through the years. Even the ship's anchor is still in place, exactly where it was during the ship's journey. This shows how gently the bow settled into the seafloor when the ship sank. This level of detail is important for many reasons. Not only does it help researchers understand how the ship was built, but it also shows how different materials hold up under extreme conditions over time. Seeing these images gives us a deeper appreciation for the craftsmanship that went into building the Titanic more than 100 years ago. It also helps us realize just how tragic and sudden the ship's sinking was. There is something deeply emotional about seeing the Titanic in this way. It's more than just an old shipwreck. It's a place where over 1,500 people lost their lives. Many of them were never found, and their final moments remain unknown. This digital reconstruction gives us a new way to remember them. It allows us to see where they walked, where they slept, and where their journey ended. It brings their story closer to us in a very human and respectful way. The scans also highlight the many personal items that are still lying around the ship. These include shoes, luggage, bottles, and even jewelry. Each object tells its own story and reminds us that the Titanic was not just a machine, but a floating home for more than 2,000 people. These items are frozen in time, untouched for over a century, and now they can be seen by people around the world thanks to this new technology. This kind of work also raises important questions about how we treat shipwrecks and other historical sites. Should we leave them untouched, or should we study them more closely to learn from them? With photogrammetry, we can do both. We can learn everything we need without taking anything away. We can explore the past without harming it. As more and more images are studied, we will likely continue to learn new things about the Titanic and its story. This technology may also be used on other shipwrecks in the future, giving us the chance to discover even more lost histories. But for now, the Titanic remains the most powerful and emotional example of how technology can connect us to the past. Through these detailed scans, the Titanic has come back into focus in a way that no one thought possible. We are able to see it clearly, understand its structure, and feel the emotional weight of its story. It's a reminder of both human greatness and human tragedy. And thanks to this incredible work, the story of the Titanic will live on for future generations to study, remember, and learn from. The ship's captain or the wealthiest passengers, but their bravery was just as great. These men stayed behind not because they had no escape, but because they chose to serve others. They kept the power going so passengers could see the lifeboats, so crew members could follow commands, and so chaos didn't turn into total darkness. Their story, long buried beneath the ocean, is now told through the ship's wreckage, twisted steel, melted pipes, and machinery frozen at the moment of impact. These final details add a deeply human layer to the high-tech scans. Thanks to modern photogrammetry and digital modeling, we now have the clearest picture ever of how the Titanic sank slowly, violently, tragically. The ship's bow tells us how the water crept in, pulling the vessel down section by section. The boat deck shows us the chaos of the escape, where desperate passengers clung to hope. The A-deck promenade reveals how luxury collapsed under pressure. And the breakup point, along with the mangled stern, shows the full force of destruction when the ship finally tore in half. But within all this decay and destruction, the scans offer something more: connection. They remind us that this was not just a ship. It was a floating city filled with people, each with their own story, their own final moments. The artifacts buried in the wreck, a statue, a purse, a watch, are not just objects. They are voices from the past. They speak of elegance, of everyday life, of tragedy, and of choices made under unimaginable pressure. Every rusted beam and collapsed deck now serves as part of a digital archive, a museum not behind glass, but beneath the ocean. And while time and bacteria continue their quiet work, slowly erasing the Titanic, the scans freeze moments in place, preserving history with astonishing clarity. They give us more than just facts. They give us the emotional weight of what was lost and the resilience of what remains. Now, thanks to this new technology and the tireless work of researchers, we can walk the Titanic once more. Not through myth or memory, but through science, through detailed, hauntingly beautiful images that make it feel as if we are there, witnessing history unfold in silence. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe our channel. Have a good day.